All right, so we got eyeballs primed and a cat hair, because, you know, why not? Hey everyone, welcome back to Pavonine Studios Beauty and Art. My name is Amy. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I have some errands to do, and so I thought I'd put on a little makeup. I haven't worn makeup in like 3 or 4 days because I've been doing some stuff that I will share with you while I'm putting on my face today. But I don't have anything new to try out today. But I do have something that I unearthed, for lack of a better word, in my activities the last few days. So one of the things that I've been doing probably for 3 or 4 days is rearranging my makeup and stuff in my room. And one of the things that I did was I moved where my palettes were and kind of categorized them and so on and so forth. So one of the things that I was keeping an eye open for was a palette that I wanted to retry, because I've had this palette for a while, probably at least a year, maybe a year and a half. But I feel like I've learned stuff in the last year and a half, as far as how to apply eyeshadow and things like that. And so I wanted to give this another go today. So I'm talking about the Melt Cosmetics Gemini palette. And like I say, I've worn this a time or two, but not super often because I felt like it was a little difficult to work with. This is the color story, super pretty. I love the greens in it and stuff. And anyway, I just wanted to play with this today because like I say, I have to go out and do some stuff. I have on kind of a pink top today, so I may change my top because this is green and that pink, and I don't know. Anyway, I just wanted to say thank you for joining me. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you like it while you're watching it. Subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. I love to have new subscribers, and I do love when I get comments, and I try to respond to every one of them, or at least give them a like so that you guys know that I'm reading stuff. I'm going to go ahead and prime my eyes with my relatively new primer. This is the Gerard Cosmetics primer that I got through Amazon. I mentioned this in a couple videos ago. I'll try to remember to link that above. But I'm going to go ahead and scoot in. We're going to get started and we're going to see how this all goes. So I have been, like I say, playing in my makeup room for the last couple of days, trying to reorganize things so that I can find them a little easier. One of the things that I want to do this year, and I've mentioned this before, is that I want to sort of rediscover, revisit, fall in love with, whatever you want to call it, the collection that I have. Now that doesn't mean that I'm not going to be purchasing anything for review or things that sort of strike my fancy. But what it does mean is that I'm going to try to rediscover things and play with things that I haven't played with in a really long time. I don't know if everything that I use in that way will be, something that's available, but that doesn't necessarily mean that some of you out there don't have these things. Now, the Gemini palette, for example, is still available. I think you have to get it online at Sephora, or maybe you have to get it on the Melt website. Speaking of which, I saw the other day that they had re-released the Vita palette, and so that's kind of exciting. I don't have that one, but I certainly hope that it means that they are going to be re-releasing the Morte palette, which I think is the one that most people really would like to get their hands on, me being one of them. I think I'm going to start with the color Leo, which is the darkest sort of olive green in this palette. One of the things that I've learned through watching other people's videos this year is to, especially Angelica, I will link her channel below if I can, is that sometimes it works to our benefit to go in with a color that we want like the most impact with first. And so usually that's a dark or intense or whatever color on the outer corner. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to start with this color Leo. What I may do is layer this with Fire OG because it's a little bit more of a, oh, what would you say, like a limey, not limey. It's just a little bit more of a yellow green, maybe a shade or two lighter. So I'm just focusing this on this outer corner, kind of patting and blending a little bit. So I can already tell right now that that is definitely a good tip to go in with that darkest color first. I'm already liking this palette better than I remember liking it before. So that gives me a lot of hope. I'm going to go into the color Fire OG with that same brush, which I cleaned off a bit. And I'm going to put that kind of in the crease and above into the inner corner. But I'm not going to go over my lid with it. I have changed my lighting a little bit again, and I have a new monitor. The one that I had was like not a widescreen monitor, so I kept having like stuff on the sides that I didn't necessarily want everybody to see, like the edge of my shelf and things like that. It was just purely an aesthetic kind of thing. But this one also has, I think, better color, a little bit better clarity, and I'm hoping that it will give me a more realistic view of what you guys are seeing. Some of this stuff that I am learning lately about video filming and stuff is not something that I ever really thought about when I watched other people's videos. I guess I thought it was a lot more effortless than it really is. Yeah, that's not true. This stuff takes some time to figure out, and you guys all get to come along with me for the ride. I'm going to take the color Mochi, which is the lightest of the greens in here, and it's more of a like a yellow green, and I'm going to blend out these edges with that color. Okay, perhaps not my best blending job, but that's me, not the eyeshadows. There is a black in here that looks promising. I don't think I've ever used it. Oh yeah, that's a good black. We shall see how that works. I'm going to put a little bit of that, I think, in my very outer corner. All right, so I'm going to take a flat shader brush. We're going to go into the color Goals, which is the metallic green in here. And this is it's a really pretty green. It's very metallic. I like it a lot. And do I want to spray this? Maybe I should spray this. So I'm going to pick that up on my brush and I'm going to go ahead and spray it, and we're going to put this all over the center of my lid. And I am bringing this up just a little bit, just above that crease, because I know that when my eyes open and stuff, it's going to transfer up there, because that's just what things do on my eyes typically. I've mentioned that like 500 times on my channel, so I just put it up there because it's going to end up there anyway, and that gives me a little bit more control. And then I'm just kind of patting, making little sort of sketching motions here where that metallic meets that darker green shade. I will say that's a very rewarding color. You could totally do a pretty neutral or neutral leaning eye with this because half of it is like browns, golds, things like that, and they are really pretty colors too. So, but I wanted to play with the greens because, I mean, let's be honest, that's probably why most people bought this palette, was because of these greens in it. All right, before I move on to anything else, I am going to put a little bit of that black in the outer corner. We're just gonna see how that, and I'm gonna start kind of slower. I'm gonna try to. I'm gonna feel like an idiot if like this turns out to be this amazing black and I've been struggling and whining about not having a really good black in my collection, and it's been here the whole time and I didn't realize it. Okay, I'm gonna pick up that flat brush again with the metallic on there, and I'm just gonna kind of, there's not really anything on my brush, but I'm just gonna kind of pat over that place where those meet again, just to make sure we have a nice blend. I'm gonna dip back into, I'm gonna take that same little brush that I was using for the black, clean it off, and dip into that Fire OG color once more. And I'm just gonna put that right here, just to see if I can bring in a tiny bit more green. I don't expect a lot in a way because I've already got quite a lot of shadow down, and I want to blend things, but I don't want to blend them so much that they just sort of disappear. I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, there's some fallout from that black, which is not really all that surprising. It's a pigment, and you know, that's just kind of what happens. So I'm going to go ahead and clean that up a little bit. Get rid of anything that's on my face there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and tight line with a black. Usually I use a color, but I will use a color on my waterline. See, I'm going to go ahead and use the Surratt liquid liner that I mentioned that I picked up at Costco. This is an expensive liner even at Costco, and I'm just kind of shaking it up to make sure that it's nice and juicy. And it's, you know, it's a nice black. I'm not sure I understand why it's so expensive, but it did come with a refill, so, you know, I kind of appreciate that. So I'm going to line my eyes with this today. I think before I move on to the rest of my face and stuff, I just want to kind of mention a couple of things. Like I said before, I've been working on rearranging my makeup room and kind of just reorganizing things so that I can find them easier. I'm pretty happy with the way things have turned out at this point. One thing that I spent like 3 days doing, and I probably wouldn't have if I would have known it was going to take me 3 days, but I basically cataloged every foundation that I own. And what I mean by that is that I wrote down the brand name, the name of the foundation itself, the color or colors that I have, the finish of it, whether it has an SPF, whether or not I recommend it, that kind of thing. And it took me forever to do it because I started out writing it longhand, and then I decided that I was going to go ahead and sort of make a table or a spreadsheet of the information. And yeah, there's a lot of foundations. One of the reasons that I wanted to do that was because I want to do a favorite foundations video. And one of the things that I have discovered is that first of all, there were a few things that I kind of forgot about that I remember really enjoying. And one of them is the Catrice HD liquid foundation, and I used that in my video, I think a couple of videos ago. I'll try to remember to link that above. Maybe it's the same one that I linked earlier. But that's, you know, I'd kind of forgotten how pretty that foundation is. Another reason is that I wanted to do a video where I list everything that I have purchased. The bulk of it has been purchased in the last year, or since they came out with all those foundations starting mid 2019, I think it was. I've been doing this since July of 2020, so about 7 months. And I have 33 foundations that I have decided that are worth your time, worth trying out, worth the money. And you know, I wanted to share those just kind of as a foundation roundup. This is something that I've been talking about for months now. I really am going to do it, and now I feel like I've done sort of the hard research part of it. Not research, but just cataloging everything, making lists, that kind of thing. So I have 33 right now. I may pare that down, but those will definitely be coming in a video soon, and it will be probably a relatively long one. But anyway, that's one of my major plans. One of the other plans that I have is that I am going to be doing a kind of a favorites of 2020. I don't know exactly what it will include, but I definitely have things that pop right into my mind as far as things that I like. Yes, I definitely want to include that as a favorite product that I found or discovered in 2020. Because, I mean, let's face it, 2020 was a shit show, and yeah, I feel like I need to make the effort to bring out some of the redeeming the redeeming things about 2020. So that will be coming up as well very soon. I think I am going to put on a little bit of sunscreen and moisturizer and stuff, take a wee little break, go make another coffee. I'll be right back, guys. Okay, guys, I am back, and I've got the rest of my face on, and I did a little something with my hair, and I'll probably put it up after a little while, because I do have to go out, and it is pouring out today, of course. But this is Seattle, that's what it does here. Anyway, yeah, I'm happy with how things turned out today. You know, I think I'm just going to list the stuff that I put on the rest of my face down below, because it's nothing new or exotic or anything like that. Today I used one of the foundations that is going to make it into my roundup video, and it's the Exa foundation from Ulta. This is a relatively new release for them. I don't know very much about Exa in general, but I do know that I like this foundation. Okay, before I go, I'm going to say that I really do like the Gemini palette from Melt Cosmetics. Again, this is something that I've had for quite a while, but that I haven't really played with that much, because it's a pigment palette, I believe. Like, most of it is pigments, and if you've played with makeup much, especially in the last few years, you know that pigments are a little different than eyeshadows. They're a little bit more intense, they blend a little bit differently. They tend to be more of a pack it on first and then blend it out sort of thing, as opposed to just going in with like a fluffy brush, like, you know, a transition color, that kind of thing. But I do really like this palette. I'm thrilled with the black in it. I love all of these greens in it. I think I probably will do another look with this, and I'm going to play with all of the brown, gold, rusty shades, because I think they're super pretty as well. I'm definitely happy with this look. Thanks for sticking with me while I try to figure out my lighting and my filming and my sounding and all of those things. This is, let me tell you, there's a learning curve here. Hopefully it's a steep but short one, and as opposed to long and drawn out and lots of mistakes. I'm going to leave it there for today, guys. Thanks so much for joining me. I really appreciate your time here. I know you have a lot of choices out there in YouTube land, especially this time of year when people are doing a lot of favorites videos and sort of year-end wrap-up type of videos, and I definitely will have some of those coming as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe, ring that bell so that you are notified every time I upload a new video, which is 3 or 4 times a week. And until my next video, bye guys.